Open your closet right now in your mind. Somewhere in there is something you bought, wore once or twice, and never touched again. Maybe it's a gadget still in its box. Maybe it's a piece of exercise equipment now serving as a coat rack. You knew, even while you were buying it, that you probably wouldn't use it much. So why did you buy it anyway? If you've got an honest answer to that question, you already understand more about yourself than most people ever will. Because this isn't really about the stuff. It never was. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why we buy things we don't need. And once you see it, you'll start catching yourself doing it in real time. Let's start with a question. When was the last time you bought something on impulse? Not something you researched for weeks, not something you carefully budgeted for, something you just grabbed or clicked in the moment. What were you feeling right before you did it? Were you excited, stressed, bored, scrolling your phone at 11 p.m. with nothing else to do? Chances are, whatever you were feeling had very little to do with the actual item you bought. Here's a story. Meet Chloe. Chloe had a long, exhausting day. Her boss piled on extra work with an unreasonable deadline, and by the time she got home, she felt completely drained and a little unappreciated. She sat down on the couch, opened an app, and started scrolling. Within 20 minutes, she'd bought a skincare set she didn't need, a phone case for a phone she was planning to replace anyway, and a candle. Nothing about her day changed because of those purchases. Her boss was still going to be difficult tomorrow, but for a few minutes while she clicked add to cart, she felt something different. She felt in control. She felt like she was doing something for herself. That feeling is the real product. The candle was just packaging for it. Does this sound at all familiar? Have you ever bought something small, not because you needed it, but because it gave you a tiny hit of control or comfort in a moment when you felt like you had neither? Here's the uncomfortable truth about shopping. Very often, we're not actually buying the object. We're buying a feeling, and the object just happens to be the delivery method. Stress gets soothed with a purchase. Boredom gets filled with a purchase. A bad day gets rewarded with a purchase. Even excitement gets celebrated with a purchase. Almost every emotional state we experience has, at some point, been paired with the phrase "treat yourself." And once that pairing gets wired into your brain, it's incredibly hard to unwire. Let's talk about identity for a second, because this is a big one. Have you ever bought something not because you needed it, but because of what it said about you? Think about Marcus, a guy who just got a new job with a modest pay bump. He didn't need a new watch. His old one worked perfectly fine. But something about walking into that new office, sitting at that new desk, made him feel like he needed to look the part. So he bought a watch that cost more than he was comfortable admitting, not because the old one broke, but because the new version of himself in his head was someone who wore a nicer watch. Is that really about the watch? Or is it about who Marcus is trying to become and using a purchase to fast-track that feeling? This happens constantly, and it's not really our fault. It's how our brains are wired to think about status and belonging. We are, at our core, social creatures. For most of human history, being accepted by your group wasn't just nice to have, it was necessary for survival. So our brains developed a deep, automatic sensitivity to how we're perceived by others. The problem is, in the modern world, that ancient wiring gets hijacked by things like new phones, name-brand clothing, and bigger houses. Buying the right things becomes a shortcut to feeling like you belong, like you've made it, like you're respected. It rarely delivers on that promise for long, but the pull toward it is incredibly strong. Here's a question worth sitting with. Think about the last expensive thing you bought that you were genuinely excited about. Were you picturing yourself using it? Or were you picturing other people noticing it? Now let's talk about something that has completely rewired how humans experience wanting things, how easy it's become to buy them. Think about how shopping used to work not that long ago. You had to physically go somewhere, wait, sometimes save up first. There was a natural gap between wanting something and getting it, and that gap gave your brain time to cool off. Today, that gap has almost disappeared. One click and it's ordered. One tap and it's on its way. Even the tiny bit of friction that used to slow us down has been engineered away, on purpose, by companies whose entire business model depends on you not pausing long enough to ask yourself if you actually need this. Let's tell a story about that. Meet Devin. Devin downloaded a shopping app because it was convenient. Within it, his card was already saved. No typing in numbers, no digging for his wallet, nothing standing between the impulse and the purchase. Over the course of a year, Devin spent nearly $3,000 on small, forgettable purchases he barely remembers making. None of them on their own felt like a big deal. $15 here, $30 there. But add them up, and it's a vacation he never took, or a chunk of debt he's still paying off. Was Devin careless? Not really. He was just a normal person interacting with a system specifically designed to remove the pause between wanting and buying. Ask yourself this. How many of your recent purchases would you have made if you'd been forced to wait 48 hours, write a check by hand, and mail it in? For most people, the honest answer is, not many. That gap matters more than we realize. Let's talk about one more piece of this puzzle, because it explains why we sometimes buy things that don't even bring us much joy at all. The thrill of the hunt itself. Have you ever noticed that the excitement of buying something often fades faster than you expected? You want it, you get it. And within a few days, sometimes hours, the excitement is basically gone. That's because a huge part of the pleasure isn't actually in owning the thing. It's in the anticipation leading up to it. The scrolling, the comparing, the adding to cart, the waiting for the delivery truck. Once the item arrives, the chase is over, and so is most of the enjoyment. This is exactly why some people find themselves buying and buying and buying without ever feeling satisfied. They're not actually chasing the products. They're chasing that feeling of anticipation over and over, and no amount of stuff can truly satisfy a craving for a feeling. So if all of this is happening beneath the surface, mostly without our awareness, how do we actually change it? You don't need to swear off shopping forever or live without anything nice. That's not realistic, and honestly, it's not the goal. The goal is to bring this whole process out of autopilot and into awareness. Here's a simple shift that works. Before you buy something you weren't already planning to buy, pause and ask yourself one honest question. What am I actually feeling right now? Not what you think, what you're feeling. If the honest answer is stressed, bored, lonely, or trying to prove something, that's valuable information. It doesn't mean you can never buy the thing. It just means you get to make the decision with your eyes open, instead of letting an emotion make it for you disguised as a shopping choice. Let's go back to Chloe for a second. A few months after that stressful night, she started doing something small but powerful. Whenever she caught herself about to buy something impulsively, she'd add it to her cart, then close the app without checking out and give herself 24 hours. Most of the time, when she came back the next day, the urge was gone. Not because the item got worse, but because the emotion that triggered it had passed. The purchase was never really about the item in the first place. It was about the feeling. And once the feeling faded, so did the need to buy anything at all. So here's the real answer to why we buy things we don't need. It's rarely about the thing itself. It's about comfort, identity, belonging, ease, and the thrill of anticipation, all wrapped up in a box and delivered to your front door. None of that makes you weak or bad with money. It makes you human, in a world specifically engineered to turn your emotions into purchases. But here's the good news. Once you can name the real reason behind a purchase, you take away most of its power over you. You don't have to stop feeling stressed or bored or excited. You just have to stop letting those feelings shop on your behalf. If you can catch the feeling before it catches your wallet, you're already ahead of most people. Subscribe to Wealth Mind for more insights into the psychology behind wealth and financial success.